Let's begin with the issue of infrastructure. It's been a conversation we've had in the country for quite a long time, and the disparities that we have and the inequalities. Some schools, we have learners who study under the shade of a tree, and then you have schools that have, you know, good infrastructure, laboratories and all these things. So what does that mean for us as a country and for learners to be able to create that equality when it comes to the quality of education that every learner deserves to get?
There's definitely such a huge disparity. I was talking to Dr. Jendros, and we were remembering a forward that was going round and round last year of a swimming project that was on the ground. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, so children were swimming in dust.
Wow.
There was also another forward, which also upset me, that there was the idea was to teach children to be entrepreneurs, but in a particular school they were all selling bananas and they were just shouting nunua 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 nunua. Okay, so what were we trying to get there? Okay, so the curriculum wants children to learn how to swim. Where are the pools? Okay, and if you don't have a pool, what is the solution? Where can your children go and at least have that experience of getting into water? I mean, there's a common saying that Africans fear water. So I think it's a positive move, but then now the infrastructure issue comes in. And it is the majority of the children that part of the curriculum is not meeting the need. Let me go back to the entrepreneurship example, where the idea is we are supposed to learn what goods to sell. Look at the market. If everyone is selling banana, is Jane selling banana, Virginia also banana, why should I also sell banana? What can I do? That is now how I think different, to stand out and to put myself out there at the front. And then what about what do I cost that item? How am I going to get profit? That was what CBC wanted us to learn, the curriculum wanted us to learn. But you see, because of the limitations of maybe the implementer, the teacher, the school staff, the leadership, we just copy something that we are seeing that is happening maybe downtown or in our markets like that. So infrastructure-wise, I think, I don't know what I can say. The most recent one is the building of the school labs. Okay, where in just last year, if you didn't have a lab and if you didn't have that, the children were going to have to transition in a school that has a lab. So you find that the schools that could afford that went ahead and built the lab and expected an avalanche of children to come in, which would not have worked, because really, who would have accommodated all these children from the public schools and all that? So there's a huge burden on the government, the shoulders of the government, to give us the infrastructure so that every child, remember what Virginia has said, this is CBC was to bring every child to be whole, okay, to meet the needs of every learner. But when you come down to it, there are things that government needs to do to make sure that they boost the infrastructure of the whole country, all the schools. Let them have a basic level of infrastructure. May I add, for us who went to public schools in the 80s, almost all public schools had the same thing. It didn't matter where you were going. I remember public schools had the pool, had similar number of classes, had similar number of resources, the field was the same. It didn't matter where you were. There was a standard structure to that.